Is the focus on social media, on video, ruining the dance form? Is it having a negative impact
Spicy.
on the dance?
You could have a overall bad dance that doesn't place, but if you have a hook, it could still go viral.
And 3,
And where's my water?
pop my leisure.
Pop it.
Pop my leisure. Pop my leisure. Pop my leisure. Pop my leisure. Okay.
2 and 1. Action.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Deep Roots.
Ooh.
This is the podcast where myself, Sean McKeever, and my
Alyssa
wife
McKeever.
get to talk about life, our adventures as professional dancers, and kind of whatever else comes to mind. We've got some pretty exciting stuff that's been happening recently. We just launched 2 pretty major projects that we've been working on a lot.
A big one is the sales for our event, Choreo Camp. So we launched those last week. Yeah, I think it was last Wednesday. Maybe it was Wednesday before that. Doesn't matter. And it popped off. It was awesome. We have a lot of people super excited. What's crazy is that we actually we're limited on sizing because we run this in a dance studio instead of at a hotel, like most events in the US are run. And we expanded to a bigger space for this coming year, and we've probably already outgrown it, which is really insane.
Yeah, definitely. Like it comes with its challenges and things that we have to figure out. But it's cool because when I first started this event, it was definitely an uphill battle to kind of convince dancers within the West Coast swing community that a weekend of just learning choreography would be valuable for them if they weren't intending on becoming classic or rising star or showcase routine competitors. It's been cool to see people become more aware of the value of a full weekend of choreography has for their dancing, even if that's not the primary way they love to dance. Maybe they're more improvisational dancers at a baseline.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then the other thing that we just launched, and this is new for us, is actually an extension to Choreo Camp called Choreo Camp Crew. And that is an online version of Choreo Camp where we have 3 different levels. We have level 1, 2, and 3, and then a solo choreo as well. And people get access to kind of all of those choreos, and we update them every 6 months. So we give new choreos every 6 months. You can learn from anywhere, anytime. If you don't have a partner, you can always do the solo option. But super excited about that because I think being able to access partnered choreographies has been really limited, especially in countries that might not offer partnered choreo classes. So I think this is it's a fun thing to open up.
Yeah, got a lot of requests over the last couple of years of, are we going to make these routines from Choreo Camp available, or can people practice them? Can they teach them to their friends? And we wanted to give an avenue that facilitated that. And again, just making choreography more accessible to those who aren't doing competitive routines, because it is such a great practice skill. And so this is kind of our next phase of doing that. And we're excited. We're going to see, how it shapes over the next little bit of time. But it's interesting because really, especially since just after COVID and during COVID, there's been this huge shift that has opened up online learning for dance and has really made visibility through video super important and such a massive way of spreading our dance. And I think it's been so cool to see how the dance has grown due to that and evolved due to that. But I think it's always interesting when you have a new technology or a shift in the culture to see how it impacts the art form. And I think something that a lot of us probably think or feel is the focus on social media, on video ruining the dance form? Is it having a negative impact on the dance? And I think that's a really, it's an important question to ask. I think anytime that something new is introduced to an art or to a culture, that we examine like the pros and cons to it and don't overreact and immediately just completely disregard something, but also don't become complacent to the possible unforeseen side effects of things.
Yeah, I like the idea of kind of going through the pros and cons of it.
Yeah.
I do think there are so many pros to how social media has really elevated the visibility of our dance. I think because of Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, insert social media here, Facebook, like way more people are aware of what our dance is. They see it so much more. It pops up a lot more. So now, like when you tell people you do West Coast Swing, they've actually seen it versus 10, 15, 20 years ago that they had no idea what it was.
Yeah.
So that's a huge pro in my mind of like, it's really spread the awareness of our dance. And I think in that, it's actually reached a lot of people who have actually gone and started it. Like I know a lot of people who run beginner classes, they'll ask like how they found out about the dance. And a lot of the time it's social media.
Yeah, it's been huge. And in our era, when we were first starting, YouTube was really that vehicle. YouTube was one of the first big pushes that helped the dance to go international, I feel like. And what was interesting about that era was you were always watching full dances.
Right.
YouTube is long form. So videos were just kind of posted, unedited, and it was the full dance. So you were still seeing things in the same way that you saw them live, although the impact is different when you see it live.
Yeah.
But the difference is that you could pause it, you could rewind it, and you could try to mimic the moves that you were seeing from the pros. And that was kind of one of the early stages, I think, of people, they would say, like YouTube dancers, people who were learning how to do these complex moves or mimicking what they saw champions do, but maybe had never taught classes. And there was a lot of like kind of negativity around that as a generalization. And I think what was blind about that was there are a lot of people who who didn't have access to any other option. And so they were seeing West Coast Swing from maybe an area that didn't have it locally, but they were able to try and learn this dance by seeing it. And sure, there's things that are lost in translation, but those seeds were the beginnings of so many dance communities throughout the world that then later blossomed into communities that do bring teachers in and that really developed amazing dancers once they had access to that information. So it evolved into something really, really good. But I remember being like, oh, those YouTube dancers, they just learn moves off of videos, but they don't really know what they're doing. And like, actually some of them were really good and they were just amazing at visual interpretation and learning too.
There would definitely be people who would show up who would like, you'd watch them and you'd be like, wow, they look amazing. And then you'd dance with them and be like, wow, they look amazing.
Very, very true. So that was like kind of like an early stage of this. But I think a big difference was that they were the whole video. So you're still seeing like the arc of a good dance. Like when you watched a good dance, you were seeing how a partnership kind of built and how maybe there were like moments that were a little bit more simplistic and then moments that were more exciting and then moments that were more simple, and you got to see the chemistry, whether it was a routine or a Jack and Jill improv or strictly improv. You were still getting a lot of the context.
Right.
And I think something that's really interesting now is short form content has been king for at least the last, I would say, 3 or 4 years for sure. Like when TikTok really took off, 90 seconds was a long video.
Yes.
And so with that, it was, in order to get people to see the video or to watch the video, you had to kind of pick moments. You had to draw people in because the attention span is shortening. And if you don't catch people right away, they'll just scroll to the next. It's so easy to just flick. Versus again, like YouTube, you had to like click on a video. You don't just swipe. Yeah.
YouTube was a commitment. Instagram is a fling.
Totally. Yeah. Totally. And so, there's this difference in attention span where you have to pull people in. And so the videos often that would grab people are the ones that have some kind of hook to them, whether it's like one crazy moment or people looking surprised or something unexpected happening. Like you kind of like videos needed a hook almost in order to gain visibility. And visibility isn't everything, but as this media has become more and more prevalent, the incentives change for the professionals because they also change for the events. So like for event directors, it's now like very valuable to look at like, okay, which of my staff are really social and make attendees feel very welcome, which of my staff are incredible instructors, of course, yes, those things, but also who's going to help bring visibility to my event,
right.
who has a large following, who will help to spread my event's brand across the world and help draw people to it.
Yeah.
So now the incentive for the event directors are slightly different, which means it's also different for the professionals.
Right, and it's also different for us posting things too. Like where you could have a overall bad dance that doesn't place, but if you have a hook, it could still go viral. And I've had dances like that where it's like it was a relatively non-exciting dance, but there was one thing of it that was like decent or good even or funny, and you just cut out the rest of it. You focus on that one part, and like that could pop off. And so it's almost deprioritized us to have like overall good dances.
Totally. And I don't, at the end of the day, I think, you know, a lot of the people in our community have a lot of artistic integrity.
Yes, definitely.
But I do think that with those incentives changing, there's easily a temptation to focus on how can I have a viral moment? How can I do something that's intriguing or controversial or you know, silly or whatever it might be, because you can make money off of social media, although that's not a primary source of income for a lot of us, certainly not us, but it is a thing that can happen. And it also, clout is nice to have, like the ego stroke.
Yeah.
But I think that it's also like pushing sometimes the dance to think about highlights more than the complete dance.
Yeah. And like those still happened in the YouTube dances that we studied.
Yes.
But they were surrounded by like also simple swing moments. And I think sometimes the temptation is to do something cool every other count. Something athletic every 2 counts. And ultimately like there needs to be time to breathe in the dance and times for like a viewer's eyes to adjust to what they're seeing. And so, yeah, I think continuing to prioritize balance has always been my goal personally, but that does mean sometimes you don't get the viral dance.
Yeah. Well, a truly good dance should have ebbs and flows.
Yes.
Should have peaks and valleys.
Yeah.
And you don't get to see that in short clips.
Yeah.
And that's why I actually already feel like there is a bit of a trend back towards longer form stuff. Like we certainly are feeling that. That's part of why we're here, is because we still like the short clips, but we felt like there was a missing piece, and we wanted to be able to show full dances. We wanted to have longer conversations. So that's part of why we're putting more effort here. And it's interesting too, because I think sometimes events want to create those moments as well. They want to manufacture them. So something that I feel at times as a champion dancer is the prerogative or the motivation for competitors from novice up through all-stars is to give the music that's going to appropriately either facilitate good dances for that level or challenge that level at an appropriate level.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is in champions, a lot of times the music that we're given is kind of a gimmick.
Or at least there's like one gimmick song.
There's like a twist, there's a challenge, there's a thing. And those can be fun, but I do feel like in a way it doesn't if there's too much of that and not enough of a balance of let's see the top professionals that we brought to the event exhibit the work that they put in their dancing and like the values that we think are important as a community. If there's too much of the let's throw them a huge curveball and basically put them in a position where they have to roll around on the floor for laughs, I do think that can have a negative impact on the community because it highlights and showcases entertainment over quality kind of mentality. And I think something that often gets preached to advanced and intermediate and all-star dancers is like less flash and trash and more technique.
Right.
But can you blame those dancers when the top level is kind of put in a position where they are encouraged to disregard quality for entertainment value?
Yeah. And it's really interesting too, because we'll get comments a lot of the time. To be fair, those like silly dances, the ones that are to like the non-typical music, they do well on social media because they're different, because they have a hook, because we're being silly. And like sometimes the comments are like, "This isn't swing." We're like, "We know. We're not saying it is." Even if it says hashtag West Coast Swing in the comment section, like, we know that's not good swing, it's entertainment. But like, that's part of our job.
We try to put as much of the good stuff in there as we can.
Yeah,
right.
Sometimes failing. And then the other thing that I actually find really interesting, and then I do want to talk more about like comments and stuff, is like there's dancers that are now transitioning out of All-Star into Champions, and seeing that transition and having them go from having like really nice, beautiful, clean dances in All-Stars to now you have to do all this other crazy stuff and roll around on the floor. Like, they're not really prepared for that because they haven't had to do that, or it hasn't been an expectation on them in all of the prior divisions. And I think that's kind of unfair.
Yeah, well, and again, playing devil's advocate to myself, because I don't think anything is black and white.
Yeah.
I do think that part of being a champion is being an entertainer.
True.
It's having that other element. Like,
Yes.
So I think what makes a champion is that you're at a top 10 level in routines, in instruction, in Jack and Jill's, Strictly's, and that you bring an X factor. You have something that's unique to you, that's part of your personality, your style, that makes you entertaining to watch. And I do think that the playfulness and the personality is part of that.
Absolutely.
It's part of bringing your X factor in your brand.
Yeah.
And so it is an important skill to have.
Totally. Just not one that they get to practice beforehand.
Yeah. And unless you're learning how to do it while you're in All-Stars, which I think a lot of times, if I reflect back on when I was in All-Stars, I was hamming it up for my friends behind me.
Yeah, fair.
Like, so I think that's part of it. It was like I had a bit of that for the like for John Kirkconnell and for Nick King and for Ben McHenry. Like, we were kind of hamming it up together while we were competing. But I just think it's all about balance. Yeah. And I think that it's important at any event for there to be fun, silly moments, and for there to be moments where the pros can showcase like,
their
okay,
craft.
this is actually what good dancing is. And when I started, there weren't really any gimmick competitions or songs, but funny things still happened. And that was it was more up to the artists to interpret the music in a clever or funny way.
Right.
Or to make a choice that
Instead
was
of forcing it.
Or to cover for a mistake in a entertaining way. So, some of the most entertaining dances I've ever seen, like thinking of like old dances from like Kyle and Kyle Red and Tatiana Molman from, the like 2000, 2007, 2008, 2000 up through the 2010s. So they had some incredibly impressive but also hilarious dances that were high level dancing that were also hilarious, but they were just given regular music. Right. And
it was their personalities that made it unique. Yeah. Yes, their She-Wolf dance from Capitol 2010 lives in my head. I know the whole dance. It's memorized. Like, it's such a good dance. And it was both, like, there were funny moments, but it was also just such a good dance.
It was done through the dancing. And I think that's the thing that I miss is, like, I want to see the entertainment and the personality, but I kind of want it to be a true moment of of inspiration or
Right.
or brilliance
Just authentic in the moment.
versus it
Yeah.
feeling manufactured.
Yeah.
Either for the gram or for the
music.
lulz or by the music.
lulz.
So I don't know, maybe that's me being a little bit too, I don't know, too much of a purist, and I think some people love the show.
And I think we like once we're in it, it's fun. Like it's silly.
Oh, totally.
Like we're all playful beings. Like so I think once we're in the silly thing, it's fun to go along with it. Because what are your other options? Be like, no, I'm not gonna do it.
I mean, that could be kind of funny too. Actually, I might do that next time.
Perfect.
Just like
sit on the ground.
refuse to have fun.
But I forgot where I was going with that.
But just what are your other options? Like,
Yeah.
it's fun once you're in it.
Yeah, that's yeah.
Yeah. So I think I think it's always a good thing to just be aware of. I think that the one of the other positives to the quick turnaround of how much more quickly we're seeing videos and seeing these really cool clips is that it accelerates inspiration.
Yes.
So like I heard somebody talk about this in relationship to skateboarding recently, that like in the 90s, 2000s, like it was everybody heard about stuff in skateboarding through magazines. So someone would do a new trick and you wouldn't hear about it until the magazine that took photos of it came out.
Crazy.
So there would be time between the trick happening and everybody hearing about it, and then everybody would go and try to learn it, and then there'd be time between that and then the next thing happening.
Yeah.
So there was a slower cycle.
Yeah.
And so progression was slower.
Right.
And now what you'll see in skateboarding is that young kids are doing tricks that seemed impossible years ago, and they're progressing so quickly and iterating so quickly off of one idea to the next because there's so much more happening so much more immediately,
Right.
that you can see, oh, that's possible, like the day after you did the last thing. And so you can see, okay, it's possible, now I'm going to go try that thing. And I think that's the case in West Coast Swing too. I think right now we have some of the most dynamic, impressive dancing ever. I mean, it's been awesome for a while, but like I think some of the things that are happening are so cool and are evolving so quickly because everybody can see what everybody else is doing
Right.
every weekend. And so you get more ideas faster and you can watch them back more quickly. And you can go, oh, that was cool the way they edited that, or the way that they did that trick, or the way that they switched that thing up, or that was a clever interpretation of that lyric. Next time I hear that lyric, I'm going to do a slight twist on that. So it does, I think, it speeds up progression, but I also think it can numb us to a point as well, because if things are just amazing
there.
all the time,
Yeah.
maybe you're not quite as amazed by things as you would be if you saw them more infrequently.
I've definitely noticed the difference in like crowd reactions throughout the years of like, and even the reactions of the people that are like sitting behind in a Jack and Jill or a Strictly from like dances. We were just watching was it a Strictly or a Jack and Jill? I think it was a whole Jack and Jill
from Phoenix.
From Phoenix in the 1980.
It was 1990s, I think.
1990s.
Yeah.
And like when someone did something cool, the whole like all the peers like stood up and like were hooting and hollering, and like the audience goes crazy for something that now you watch it back and you're like, well, that was pretty simple, but in that time it was so unique and special and hard. And I feel like as we've gotten further and further into more athletic things, more dynamic things, I feel like sometimes the audience can be a little bit numb as well, because they've in their minds it's like, well, we've seen it all already. It's like, well, that doesn't make it less impressive.
Yeah.
But since they've already seen that thing that way X amount of times, it almost diminishes it sometimes for them.
Yeah, it was cool. Like watching, I always love going back and trying to watch videos from all the past generations.
Yeah.
And I encourage everybody who's into this dance to really study as much of the history as you can. There's a lot on YouTube.
Yeah.
And something that was just so refreshing was to see like multiple full basics,
Yeah.
you know, like a full underarm turn, a full whip with like minimal variation within it. So then a relatively like simple variation, but well timed in the music and well matched by the partner had really nice impact.
Yeah.
So it kind of made me feel like, like there's something really really nice about like watching the swing, but it does feel at times that there's always a concern, I think, as an artist of like, oh, is that going to be like,
Boring.
am I going to be okay if
if I do a whole underarm turn?
Yeah. So it's a fun little journey, and I do think that everything in this dance swings. Like it's there, it'll gotta go one direction pretty
Yeah.
far, and then it'll kind of like come back and maybe go back towards the other way.
Yeah.
And I think that things are in a space right now where I think people are looking for something a little different from what they've been doing the last couple years, and looking for maybe different ways of interpreting the music, different ways of creating variation, having dances that are more subtle.
Yeah.
And I love the dynamic moments too, but
Me
I think
too.
it's always cool to see how you can stand apart.
Yeah.
Or where's the community going? What do we like about that? What do we want to shift about it? So it's just a very interesting thing to kind of think about.
Yeah.
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 There's some thoughts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Watch whole dances. Watch the clip, but then go find the whole dance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing that I was interested in talking about with this topic, because we've brought up this topic before, just in our kitchen as we're like making dinner, and we're like, oh, I wonder, like, what do you think about social media? And then we started to talk about it, and Sean was like, no, save it for the podcast.
Yeah. We spend all of our time together, so
Yeah.
if we don't save some things for the podcast, we'll have nothing to talk about.
Well, then we'll just be like regurgitating conversations we've already had, which doesn't feel as authentic.
Yeah.
No, but the thing that we have talked about in various ways is also just the like comments you get on social media and how that impacts us as professionals and artists, because we get so many beautiful comments. There's so many that are like really loving and encouraging and appreciative, and like they feel inspired. Like there's so much good. And then there's like that one person who just decided that today you are not the right thing for them to see, and they're going to tell you why. And that can have an impact on us, on our dance. It's definitely like, it makes me aware of like what I wear more often, because I have people who comment saying like, oh, she's not showing off her body enough, or she's showing off her body too much. It's like, you can't win. And so it makes us also more aware of like the aesthetic. What are we looking like when we're putting these dances out there, and kind of like preparing yourself for someone or some people not liking it. And kind of steeling yourself and going like, that's okay. Like, not everyone's going to like this, and there's going to be some comments that are probably not going to be great, and I'm not going to read those. And then there's going to be lots of comments that I should focus on that are like really positive.
Yeah. Yeah, it's impossible to please everybody.
True.
And there's always going to be people out there who are just, I think, like looking for ways to make themselves probably feel more powerful by being kind of abusive online, because it feels anonymous. And that's crappy. Like there's no way to completely desensitize yourself to it.
Yeah.
But I will say that like I've been letting the positivity in more, and that's really cool to like put the focus on that, and to feel the positivity and or excitement. And it can be hard though, because it can make it, I think it could easily give dancers a confidence crisis if they're getting mean comments. It could give them definitely body dysmorphia, because I think for me, I get so angry, specifically the amount of commentary the women in our sport get on their videos across the board. Like all of these incredibly strong and athletic and talented and hardworking women getting so much commentary on their appearance and not on their skill.
Yeah.
And it's not for people who probably should be talking about it generally.
That's a very nice way to put that.
Really, like that's going to make you feel strong and big. Okay.
Yeah.
But those people are just going to exist, and
They are,
Yeah.
and you just kind of learn how to either like turn comments off or block certain people that are problematic, or like now I've gotten to a place, like there was a time when it did really affect me, and it affects my dancing. It affects how I want to move, how I want to present myself. And like there was a time where like it was really impacting me negatively, and I managed to figure out how to turn, like, you can select certain words on Instagram and have those comments just be automatically hidden no matter what. And that was huge. And then I got to a point now where I can read a lot of comments that are, like, not positive, and I just laugh at them. Because it's like, you don't even know. Like, you don't know me. You're sitting on a computer thousands of miles away from me. So, like, you can make the assumptions you need, but, like, when you... either you laugh or you cry. So laughing is a much better option.
One of the interesting things, though, is that, like, when it comes to the game of social media engagement, like, it doesn't matter if it's negative attention or positive attention.
Yeah.
Either one counts as engagement and will drive more engagement and more followers. And so, like, just be mindful of that. If there's somebody that you really don't like on social media, the best thing you can do is to not engage with them, to not look at their stuff, to not comment negatively on their stuff, to block them.
Yeah.
Because silencing somebody is actually the most effective way to lower their frequency on social media. But, like, one of the ways that your Instagram first got really, really popular was because it became a
comment thread,
a public forum on COVID masking, because
I posted a dance with me and Benji from Easter Swing, and it was when Easter and lots of events that were happening still had masking requirements. And so Benji and I were wearing masks. This was one of those dances where, like, the first 30 seconds were great, and then I didn't post the rest of it. And, like, it got millions of views, and everyone was arguing about masks. Like, there were some comments about the dancing, but most of it was just, yay, masks, boo, masks, and back and forth and back and forth. And
you gained like 100,000 followers from that debate.
I don't think it was that many.
It was a lot.
It was definitely some.
It was a huge chunk at that time of it was like doubled or tripled your following.
Yeah, it was gnarly.
So, I mean, but it was weird. It was super weird. And I think...
At first, I got annoyed, and then I was talking to, I think it was Ben Morris. He was like, yeah, your algorithm's going off. I'm like, that's a beautiful reframe, Ben. Thank you.
Yeah. So, it's weird. And I think that can also be a weird incentive for people. And you'll see it playing out where sometimes people are intentionally divisive or controversial or do things that are like kind of cringe specifically because they know it will drive more engagement and more outrage. So
it's crazy.
You know, just be mindful of that. Like, if you're getting outraged by something on social media, there's a good chance that's exactly what they intended.
Yeah, it's probably a good time to put the phone down and walk outside.
Yeah. But overall, like, I would say for us, like, inspiration-wise, it's been amazing. Spreading the dance-wise, amazing. Getting inspiration from other dances easily. We have a huge folder of saved clips of other dance styles and moves that we think are inspiring. I think, like, there's been so much positive to events being more visible, dancers being more visible, us being able to have other ways of sharing through social, like we can share moves, we can share our perspectives, and that wasn't as prevalent before. So, and we can stay up to date with what our friends are doing at other events around the world. Like, I think there's so many positives, but as always, you have to examine, like, is this skewing my incentives? Is this skewing the way that I'm creating my art? Am I still being authentic, or am I doing this for the clicks? As a artist, as an event director, as a up and coming competitor, it's always it's good to just keep those things in mind.
Yeah, no, I love that.
Yeah.
Questions?
Yeah, let's do like one or two questions to finish up here.
One or two questions.
So these are questions from you all, from people who've commented, from people who are subscribers at SeanAlyssa.com. And some of these we do like end up making full videos for. We've got a couple in the works right now, but the ones that we can answer quickly we do here.
Yeah. I like this one, which is comp weekend prep. How you don't walk away totally sleep deprived. Ha 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 ha.
I like
that was Kaylee Baker. That's a great question. I feel like knowing what you prioritize or what you want to prioritize going into the weekend is really important. So are you going into the weekend wanting to social dance your face off? Prioritize that. Maybe don't take the workshops. Maybe sleep in. Are you wanting to do a lot of workshops? Great. Prioritize that. Maybe you go to bed on the slightly earlier side. I think oftentimes we go into events and we want to do everything at the maximum level. And you walk away Monday usually sick because your body just can't handle that. And so going like, okay, this weekend I really want to prioritize comps. Like if you're going to an event like Jack and Jill Rama, they have a lot of comps. So it's a great weekend to prioritize comps. And then like maybe also social dancing, but maybe not at the same level. Or like if you're going to an ESS, prioritize workshops. There are no comps there, right? So kind of knowing what you want out of the weekend before you get there, I think can be really helpful.
Yeah. Frequency of how often you go to events plays a role too. Like if I was
True.
going to one event in a month and then not for a while again, I would probably be okay with just going super hard.
Fair, yeah.
And, like I'll let my body recover after. But if you're going to them more frequently, it becomes more important that you don't completely drain yourself every single weekend.
Yeah.
So I think taking a short nap is really, really clutch, like in the middle of the day, in between. Maybe you take a workshop, you take a short nap before you compete. I like to nap before I compete if I can. I feel like it resets my nervous system really well.
Yeah.
And it helps to refresh me before the evening. So sometime between workshops and competitions, if I can sneak in even 30 minutes, that's really, really great. I think most people are chronically underhydrated, so drink way more water than you're drinking. Bring electrolytes with you. Don't take too many, but take like one a day.
Yeah.
I think those are both really, really huge things. And just supplementing in general can make a pretty massive difference. Vitamin D, all the, things that are appropriate for you and your needs. But I think for me, like I definitely feel better when I'm kind of making up for some of the losses throughout the weekend with some supplementation.
I think the thing that's been really effective for us, because we are working the events, like we have our work week is 3 days, or at least it's those event weekends, and we do work during the week too, but it's a grind during the weekend. It's usually full days, and for us, like whenever the last competition is done of the day, usually like midnight or 1 a.m., like we've been playing with this, and I think it's been really good, is like we'll stay in the ballroom rather than leaving and going to get a drink. We're not drinking right now, so that's not a priority. And if we just stay in the ballroom and dance for like another hour, that usually fills our tank, and then we go to bed by like 1 or 2. Instead of, if you leave the ballroom after the comp is over, you're probably going to be gone until at least 2:30 in the morning. So then you're starting your social dancing then, and then you're waiting to get that dance with that person you want.
Yeah.
I feel like it's been really nice for us because we've gotten a lot more social dancing in lately.
Yeah.
And it's been when the floor is a little more empty, and we get to still go to bed on a relatively early timeline.
Yeah, like good social dancing doesn't have to be at 5 a.m.
No.
That can be fun, but that doesn't have to be for everyone, and it doesn't have to be every night. So dance during the day, in between stuff. Dance at the first part of the night. And you can get a lot of dancing in without staying up nearly as late.
Yeah.
I think it's a huge one.
Yeah.
And your sleep will be better if you are well hydrated and if you avoid alcohol and you stop drinking caffeine at least like 5 hours before you want to go to sleep.
That's a hard one, but it is effective. All right. One more. Oh, it's so hard to pick.
Stretch also.
Yes.
Before bed or in the morning or both.
Shoe recommendations.
Shoe recommendations.
Yeah, I like this. I think this is a question we get a lot, is what kind of shoes are we wearing? Both of us have a lot of pairs of dance shoes.
Always trying new stuff. Always looking for the golden grail.
The golden
of shoes.
shoe.
Yeah.
The ones that I wear the most often are the suede. I think it's the Kaya boot. It's like a short boot, and it's suede on the bottom, suede on the sides.
The brand is SWAYD.
Yeah.
Suede.
Suede.
Yeah.
I like those shoes. They spread out with my foot nicely, and I have like very wide feet, so I need a shoe that will widen with my foot. If I need something that's a little bit like stickier, I wear the adventure shoes, also made by the same company. If the floor is more slippery, I want to have a little bit more grip. Those shoes are more rubber on the bottom, but they work really well. And the other pair from the same company that we both like are called the Flows, which are more of like a sneaker type shoe. I like those. Those aren't my go-tos by any means because they make my my foot look a little bit bigger, and it's flat, so you have to work a little harder to articulate kind of what side of the foot you're on and the roll of the foot.
I think we should do a video that just has all of our shoes in it so people can see them too. But the go-tos for me, I love the high tops from JT Swing. I like that they're suede on the bottom, and I like a high top. I just got these new shoes that I'm really, really liking. Do you remember what the...
Rumped.
How do you spell it?
I think it's
Rumped.
Rumped.
We came across them at Uptown this year, and they look so much to me like a Nike, not Air Force Ones, but it's like a Nike kind of like mid. So it's not quite a full high top, but not a low top either.
Yeah.
And they're really cushy. They're a little bit wider, and I like the look of them a lot. And then I always have a pair of Rivieras around. They're kind of like a slip-on shoe, and they're just easy, and they have a surface on the bottom that works really well on almost any surface. They're not even dance shoes. They're just a leisure shoe company, but they work really well as dance shoes.
Yeah.
And they come in a bunch of different styles. And they pack down really, really small. So I almost always have my JT Swing high tops. I have my Rivieras, and then I usually have one other shoe, and it's either like a low top sneaker type thing or these new rumped dance shoes.
I also got a pair of the Rumpts.
Yeah. They're really, you'll be seeing them a lot probably soon.
Yeah,
so, but I think another video with them all out in front of us would be good one of these days.
That'd be so many shoes. I would always recommend, like, if you're new to the dance, get a pair of shoes that have suede on the bottom.
Yes.
Just because you're going to be turning a lot, and your knees are not going to like turning with a rubber shoe on wooden floor.
It'll also make your foot line. You're more likely to turn your feet in if your feet aren't able to slip on the floor.
Yeah, so starting out with something slippery can help kind of train the positioning of the foot, and then as you get more comfortable with maintaining that, then I would try something that maybe is a little bit stickier, but like we're meant to dance in suede. It's meant to have some slip. But I also generally, when I'm teaching and practicing, a lot of the time I dance in socks because that's the ultimate for my feet being able to spread out. Mm-hmm. And the socks I use are Belega socks. They're expensive, but they're awesome.
They're really good. Great way to train your balance and your foot control to train in socks. It just can be really slippery, so be careful.
Yes.
Yeah. Awesome.
Nice.
Cool. I think that's a good place to stop for now.
Yeah, me too.
All right.
Nice.
Thanks for joining us, everybody. Subscribe. Drop your questions in the comments below. See you next time.
Nice. Good job.